And nobody pays attention when a guy wears, anything, to be honest, khakis and whatever.
Yeah.
So, nobody pays attention.
You, I think. I can sign this.
Hello.
Good to see you, Allison.
Hi.
That's on Allison's side.
I don't know where you are.
No, we're still waiting nameplates.
We're still waiting, what?
Nameplates for.
Oh.
I just looked at the.
Go to this meeting.
Well. I'd like to call this school district of Sturgeon Bay regular board meeting of education to order. Would everyone please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Mr. Muse, could we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Hobbs? Here. Commissioner Wood?
Here.
Commissioner Chisholm? Here. Commissioner Jenner here. Commissioner Stefani?
Here.
Commissioner Cruz? Here. Commissioner Howard is not here. Commissioner Schultz?
Here.
And Commissioner Spritka?
Here. Excellent, thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the agenda. As presented.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Jenner to adopt the agenda as presented. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, and we are at the agenda. All right. Next, we're at the public comment section. Do we have anyone wishing to approach the podium tonight? If so, we got to move the podium anyway, but doesn't look like it. So we are through that. So now we are down to the consent agenda. The consent agenda, it consists of point one, approve the regular June minutes of the June 21st, 2023 meeting, approve June bills, approve grants and donations. Sean Wadier donated $70 to the high school special ed daily living skills classroom, and Ray Brook has approved a grant for football sleds. We are accepting resignations of Katina Busher is resigning from her JV volleyball coaching position. Andrea Kress is resigning from her middle school band teacher position. And Stephen Amentum is resigning from his special education teaching position. We thank all of them for their work and diligence with our students. We also accept seclusion. Your point 5 is accept seclusion and restraint annual report. Act 125 requires that schools report annually to the school board by September 1st about any incidents from the previous year. Most incidents of seclusion and restraint in the school districts typically occur at the elementary level. Director Ferry has prepared the annual report summarizing the information from the past year with a small number of students. That report is included in the packet that you received prior to this meeting. Point 6, board meeting, board policy second readings as presented there in the consent agenda. You guys will not read all those. You can look those over. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second that.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Chisholm and second by Commissioner Hawes to approve the consent agenda as presented. Further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we are down to the operations agenda, point number 2. Point number 1, we did not have.
Yeah, thank you. So what we have before us, board and anyone tracking, we're about to look at the approval of 3 teacher positions. Again, these are replacements for existing, with the exception of the whole alternative piece that we talked about in the past. We'll have 3 support staff recommendations and a couple of coaches. So here we go with agenda item 2, as President Stefani just said, approve TJ Walker Middle School band teacher. Principal Mark Smullen, music staff recommend Noah Vanderloop as the teacher, TJ Walker band teacher. Noah graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, earning a Bachelor of Music Education at a 3.76 grade point average. This spring, Noah's student teaching assignment included elementary music and secondary band classes at Minnesota's Glenwood City School District. Matt Lamb, Noah's supervising teacher, shared this regarding Noah's student teaching experience. Noah is easily one of the strongest musicians I ever had as a student teacher. He does a good job relating this to younger students in their, I suppose, growth. During Noah's time at Glenwood, Matt found Noah to be quite reflective, open to feedback, and searching for ways to always become a better teacher. Outside of school, Noah is a foodie who can be found in his kitchen, going to church, and watching sports, including the Packers, with his family and friends. A motion to approve Noah Vanderloop as the TJ Walker Middle School band teacher beginning with the 2023-2024 school year is recommended.
Move to approve Noah Vanderloop as the TJ Walker Middle School band teacher beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Schultz, second by Commissioner Switka to approve Noah Vanderloop as the TJ Walker Middle School band teacher beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Well, that has passed. Next, down to approve special education teacher / alternative teacher.
Super quick note on the middle school band teacher. Believe it or not, because the world is only so big. He is my brother-in-law's nephew. And I met him at one of our 2 nephews' weddings this summer. This one happened to be in Janesville. So my wife has 2 brothers. The oldest of those 2 brothers has Noah as a nephew. Go figure. So I never met him until the wedding, which was in between Mark Smullen having a conversation, or actually a couple of conversations with him and his interview. So go figure. Can't make that stuff up, right?
Well, certainly no nepotism there.
No. But he's a very nice young man, very intelligent young man. So I enjoy talking with him. I guess we'll see him some more. Director of Special Education and Pupil Services, Lindsay Ferry, is pleased to recommend Sky Skinner for the special ed / alternative education teaching position for the 2023-2024 school year. Sky has earned a master's degree in occupational therapy from Concordia, has experience working in K-12 education in the Janesville and Madison area as an occupational therapist. Most recently, Sky has been working with students and adults in private occupational therapy settings where she developed individualized plans to support students in K-12 education. Sky is passionate about providing meaningful learning experiences to her students, improving the mental health of children, and working with families to create ongoing learning experiences in the home environment. Sky comes very highly recommended from both her K-12 administrators and her supervisor in her private practice job. Team is excited to welcome Sky to our community and look forward to her expertise in improving our behavioral strategies across the district. A motion to approve Sky Skinner as the special education / alternative education teacher beginning with the 2023-2024 school year is recommended.
I move to approve Sky Skinner as the special education alternative education teacher beginning with the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
Excellent. We have a motion by Commissioner Haas, seconded by Commissioner Cruz to approve Sky Skinner as the special education alternative education teacher for beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. Further discussion?
I'm going to abstain from this vote for professional reasons.
Thank you. Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, and we have one abstain.
Abstention. Quick reminder to the board, right, we're working with the Boys and Girls Club and the County of Door on this particular position. So Commissioner Chisholm and I didn't speak this afternoon, but I can guess part of where she's coming from, where she is, because of her day job. And as far as I know, I have no relatives who are related to Scott.
You never know.
I may learn otherwise.
Yes. Point 4, approve special education early childhood teacher.
Yes, again, another position you've heard about, right, with our current person, Carrie Pottier, going into some other duties as Lindsay's duties have expanded. Director of Special Education and Pupil Services, Lindsay Ferry, is excited to welcome Sarah Dubeck to the special education team. Sarah has a bachelor's degree in human services management and is currently working toward her master's degree in early childhood special education through Grand Canyon University. Sarah has over 20 years of experience in early childhood education, working as a director, a parent educator, and child and family advocate through Encompass Childcare. Sarah is eager to complete her master's degree in early childhood special education in the year 2024 and begin her dream of working with students in this role, of course, for us. The early childhood team is very excited to welcome Sarah and work together to create a welcoming experience for our youngest learners here in Sturgeon Bay. Motion to approve Sarah Dubeck as the special education early childhood teacher beginning with the 2023-2024 school year is recommended.
Move to approve Sarah Dubeck as the special education early childhood teacher beginning with the 2023-2024 school year.
We have a motion by Commissioner Schultz, second by Commissioner Jenner to approve Sarah Dubeck as a special education early childhood teacher beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And now we are at point 5, approve Sturgeon Bay High School office staff member.
Yeah, these are the first of the next 3 recommendations for support staff members I alluded to earlier. So Miss Amanda Frusen has served as the front office medical assistant at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin for the past 3 years. While there, she worked in a fast-paced child advocacy clinic and worked closely with children, doctors, nurses, and of course, families. Her extensive experience working with confidential materials, computer programs, and a wide variety of stakeholders make her an ideal candidate for the fast-paced front office job at the high school, writes Principal Irving. In addition to her experience working at Children's Hospital, Amanda, or as we know, she likes to go by Mandy, has worked at several other medical hospitals and centers. She served as registrar at the St. Vincent Hospital, where she registered patients and created, kept, and maintained vital records. Her previous employer said that Mandy worked extremely well and was well liked and appreciated by her coworkers. We look forward to Mandy joining our team and bringing her vast expertise and experience to this position in the high school office. Her upbeat and outgoing personality will serve our students and families well in that main office role. A motion to approve Amanda Frusen as Sturgeon Bay High School or at Sturgeon Bay High School as front office registrar beginning with the 2023-2024 school year is recommended.
I move to approve Amanda Frusen as Sturgeon Bay High School at Sturgeon Bay High School as a front office registrar beginning with the 23-24 school year.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Cruz, second by Commissioner Hawes, to approve Amanda Frusen at the Sturgeon Bay High School as a front office registrar beginning with the 2023-2024 school year. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We are down to 6A, which is approved teacher associates Sunrise Library and Sawyer Safe Harbor. Sunrise Library, teaching associate Betty White.
Yeah.
Becky White.
You like music, Mr.?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, this is from Principal Katie Smullen. And remember, just quick for the board, right, we have teacher associate positions that kind of man, if you will, the libraries under the supervision of actually one library media specialist district-wide in Holly Side, right? So this person has an incredible amount of experience, as you're about to see, right? So it's with great pleasure, writes Principal Katie Smullen, that she recommends Becky White as our new Sunrise Library Teaching Associate. Becky comes to us with 6 years of experience as an assistant branch library manager and public services librarian. Becky earned her master's of library and information science, and so is extremely qualified to serve in this capacity at her alma mater of good old Sunrise Elementary. Our committee was very impressed with Becky's energy and creativity. So a motion to approve Becky White as the Sunrise Library Teacher Associate beginning with the 2023-2024 school year is recommended.
I move to approve Becky White as the Sunrise Library Teacher Associate beginning with the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
All right, you have a motion by Commissioner Haas, second by Commissioner Chisholm to approve Becky White as the Sunrise Library Teacher Associate beginning 2023-2024 school year. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So now we are at point B, the Sawyer Safe Harbor Teaching Associate,
Yes.
Kayla Durber.
Principal Katie DeVillers is pleased to welcome Kayla Durber for the teacher associate position in the safe harbor rooms over at Sawyer Elementary School, starting with this next school year. Kayla has had experience in a public school setting as a long-term substitute in a special education program. Most recently, she was the lead teacher in the Appleton Area School District summer program. She also worked in a daycare setting as a lead teacher in a 3-year-old program. Kayla's past supervisor stated that she has effectively supported children in these settings, and especially students who struggle with their emotions and behaviors. We're looking forward to having her support our students at Sawyer within our safe harbor rooms. A motion to approve Kayla Durber as the Sawyer Safe Harbor Teaching Associate beginning with the 2023-24 school year is recommended.
I-
I'll
go ahead.
approve Kayla Derber as the Safe Harbor Teaching Associate beginning with the 23-24 school year.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Generjon, second by Commissioner Cruz to approve Kayla Gerber as the Sawyer Safe Harbor Teaching Associate for the 2023-2024 school year and beyond. Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Point 7, approve coaches for 7th and 8th grade football, assistant football.
Yeah, so 7A, 8th and 7th. That sounds strange, right? The English teacher maybe wants to say 7th and 8th, but it is written that way in our appendix, so everyone can sleep tonight just as I'll be able to. All right, Principal Small and Athletic Director Michael recommend Nick Kita. Nick had previously coached varsity football as an assistant football coach. Nick is currently an employee of ours, of course, with the district, doing a very nice job for us in the maintenance department. A motion to approve Nick Kita as our 8th and 7th grade football coach is recommended.
I'll make a motion to approve Nick Kita as the 8th and 7th grade football coach.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Spica, seconded by Commissioner Generjon to approve Nick Kita as the 7th and 8th grade football coach. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we are down to B, which is the assistant football coach.
Read as noted for the board, of course, as the board knows, since this was, the information became clear after the packet was first sent out, but again, the item had been noticed, so we can still approve it tonight. Principal Nerby and Athletic Director Michael recommend Mike Carter for this position. Mike has experience coaching youth sports as well as an extensive background in the U.S. Coast Guard and as a rescue swimmer with law enforcement. Recently retired from the business world, Mike will make a great addition to that team. A motion to approve Michael Carter as an assistant football coach is recommended.
Move to approve Michael Carter as the assistant football coach. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Schultz, second by Commissioner Spica to approve Michael Carter as the assistant football coach.
That's for 8th and 7th. again, right?
Oh, yeah.
Still.
Michael Carter is assistant football coach associated with the high school program. Sorry.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's written. Assistant, it's implied that it's high school if it doesn't state otherwise. And then the 7th and 8th grade piece was the situation with Nick. So, yeah.
Further discussion or questions? None. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So now down to point 8, which is approved technology department purchases.
Yes, we have, we've heard about this the last couple of months. So in our board packet, I'll just kind of summarize for you here. We have the quote from Camera Corner Connecting Point down in Green Bay. We use, right, CCCP for a number of things over the years and supporting us with special projects and support. So they're certainly familiar with us and us with them. So you see that information that our tech department had, see Nelson's contact, and of course, Director Weber worked with us to get that into the packet. So again, summarizing as far as servers, the various, service plan, et cetera, that all gets brought together, $22,970 plus the shipping of $328 for a grand total of $23,298. So a motion to approve the technology department purchases as presented in that quote in our packet is recommended.
I'll make a motion to approve the technology department purchases as presented in our pack.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Jenner-John, seconded by Commissioner Woods to approve the technology department purchases as presented in your board packet. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Perfect. That has passed. Point 9, approve annual public notice of academic standards.
And remember, this is not, we have to do this every year, obviously, annual notice that yes, we are providing that. You approve of us doing that. We're not approving a totally different curriculum every year or anything like that. So I won't read every one of those paragraphs. Paragraph 1 gives you the summary of going all the way back to that 2015 to 17 biennial budget when that started. Paragraph 2, we know WASB is good about reminding its member districts such as us about taking action on this. It's a part of our annual process. Paragraph 3, I will read just these 2 sentences. So we know for us, once a new curriculum for a particular academic area has been adopted, that curriculum stays in place until a change is approved at a later date. Again, the requirement that we need to notify the public any of these standards began then back as noted above in paragraph 1. This next paragraph, I'll kind of summarize this. So over the last, well, almost decade now, I guess, since I've been here, as we've talked about different things, and there's national standards and state standards and things we adopt locally, we've talked about them as Sturgeon-based standards. That way, while yes, for the most part, when we align with the Wisconsin academic standards in most of those areas, but that also allows us, if there's a hot button issue where something pops up that our district or board, administration, et cetera, teachers think, ooh, we're not fully comfortable with that, even if that's a big federal thing or state thing, that allows us the ability to kind of tweak that as we think is appropriate. And again, under the guise of local control as a school board has. You see the updated link there. So Director Weber worked with me on making a couple updates to this language from a year ago. So again, if you don't already know, or as a reminder to some, we do have a curriculum website on the school, District of Sturgeon Bay website. That link is in the packet. Otherwise, a person can easily find that online if they're ever curious about, what do 3rd graders learn about, or what's the math sequence. Right, that people can look at that either by content area or by a child's progression through the school district, starting young and getting older. So it's a nice chance to remind folks of that. And again, of course, we have a link to the DPI standards on things too. So I'll finish with the following at the bottom sentence. A motion to give the required annual notice pertaining to academic standards utilized in the school district of Sturgeon Bay for the 2023-24 school year is recommended.
I move to give the required annual notice pertaining to academic standards utilized in the school district of Sturgeon Bay for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Hawes, second by Commissioner Jenner-John, to give the required annual notice pertaining to academic standards utilized in the school district of Sturgeon Bay for the 2023-2024 school year. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Point 10, approve the district portion of the community sports complex feasibility study.
This, of course, is something, again, the whole concept has come up over the years. You've seen this information actually 2 years in a row. Mr. Craig Siegel is a part of the steering committee for that group, so he's here just in case you have a quick question or two for him tonight. But again, he assembled this information that, I shared in my report back in June. We have it here. Again, you see, if you kind of flip to the next page, the various entities that would look at basically those 15 or more components that would be provided. You see the total cost of all the different groups that are looking to come together at $89,500. Again, as you and I have talked before at the board level, this is not a district only project by any means, but we certainly want to be a part of it and partner with the city and others on it. So again, by dividing out, between those 6 entities, that's where the $15,000 come in. So let me read this part, and then that way, if you have a question or there's anything else that we want to give Mr. Siegel a chance to point out, we can do that. So a motion to approve $15,000 toward the sports complex feasibility study as described above is recommended. So maybe we can start with that, maybe a motion in a second, and we can have any discussion the board would like to have.
Yep. Anyone make a motion for that?
I move to approve $15,000 for the sports complex feasibility study as described above.
Okay, that's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion.
Do we know that we for sure have 5 other people on board? Are we positive we have 5 other people?
No, those are just the list of people that we're going to try to secure the next.
Okay, so you're going to have you come to our, and notice, right, there were a couple of attempts at the front and
I
look at
see
the
that.
nice red and white one. I think they had that for us last month, but a little update there.
So sorry, Mr. Siegel, could you just touch on that one more time so the camera picks you
So
up?
we're going to, and then depending on where that comes in, the last one would be the Grand Torrey Brook. So,
So sort of thing, the Raybrook might make up the difference if someone wants to push in a different amount of money. Who are the people on the steering committee?
it's myself, Mark Schuster, Julie Wellazern, and Kristen Jean Court. And recently Pam Seiler has joined us.
Okay, yeah, I've had a lot of conversations. In another role or job, right? And then we're meeting with Pam tomorrow morning,
Okay,
for the county anyway.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So hopefully the county's on board as well.
The dollars that the district had approved way back when, along with the city and the booster club, those continue, right? That's all information that
That's-
continues to be
I
used.
emailed John Kinnear again today from Rattler. He emailed the touch base on where we're at with the feasibility studies and what our timeline looks like. So we keep working with him, and he's gonna have another draft as far as how that could all be laid out for us this week as well. And hopefully this feasibility and economic impact study can kind of tell us exactly what that should look like. Could we have 2 soccer fields over there, or should we only have 1? Should we have 2 softball fields and 2 baseball fields, or should we only have 1 of each? Those kinds of things is what that study will help us with, and tell us if what the dream is too big, it's not really doable, or yep, other places are doing it. I think it's feasible, so. Time will tell. This is just those are our next
And
steps.
last time we talked, you had talked about maybe doing it at sections.
Yep, still an option. For sure. Yep. And that's, again, this would be one of those pieces that this study could tell us, like, think you can go for it, do it all at once, or phase it in 2 parts, or phase it in 3 parts, or whatever they find. The other piece that the study is going to help with is just, I think when we start going for fundraising for this kind of project, different stakeholders that we approach, we can show them that, yes, this is actually something that's doable. That places X, Y, and Z have done it. This is how they've done it. It just it gives us those models and a little bit of ground to stand on instead of just saying, hey, we think it's gonna work. So.
And to Mr. Siegel, as we've talked with the board before, obviously the board isn't gonna fund the whole thing, but the concept of, yes, the board supports the concept and we'll put money toward figuring out what the best pathway forward would be, since some of your donors, again, as we've talked about with the board before, will want to know, well, what does the school board think? What does the city council think, right? So this is a part of all that process that, yes, we support the concept in the proper partnership. And then again, what is really doable or not? You see question, I think it was 15, right? Tim Coles from Door County Daily News had seen it on the board agenda, so he reached out. So he and I had a conversation off air before the, just to let him know that, no, this is not a school district project. It's not a referendum. He's like, no, Dan, I totally get it by reading this information. But as we work through it, he said, well, how involved do you think the school district will be? And I said, aha, there's a question no one has the answer to. In fact, it is literally question number 15 of the list of 15 things on the feasibility study. I'll just read the one sentence. How much should a school district be involved in each plan financially on the front end, as well as after, involvement after completion? So that's all a part of the information that we would get, what type of role perhaps the school district could or could not perhaps have in the future.
So our yes vote tonight is we're in if the rest of the entities are in. We're willing to commit this much money if everybody else is in.
We have committed.
Well,
Right, so-
yeah.
Everyone else could say no, but then the rate work would be.
Right, yeah, then we'd have to seek,
Difference.
we'd have to seek funds elsewhere if we didn't have a total of the 90.
So for example, without getting too much in front of our friends at the city, right? They have a budget process, right? You guys, and when there was a meeting in here, I had the city administrator on the phone, on speakerphone that, okay, yes, it's going to be figured into the budget. It has to work through the budget committee and eventually get approved by the city council. But yes, there is a placeholder for kind of that amount, their share. No, he can't guarantee just get it to be approved, but we know, right, the city council chairperson, the mayor, the administrator have all been to some meetings and the concept, right, supported, but it needs to work through their process yet this fall. Just as one example, if that helps.
So if they had county discussions also, do we have a county? Rob?
So tomorrow, we'll meet with the county administrator,
Okay,
and Pam and I, and then we'll probably explain that same process and how the county's budget process works. And it may or may not then go through finance committee and then probably through the CIP project, or however Ken wants to handle it. He's got a few different avenues, right, that he can make decisions on. But probably part of the 24 would be the earliest.
The only other thing that pops to mind here before President Stefani weighs in. So when you see Destination Door County, I can tell you Cameron at Destination Sturgeon Bay has attended, I don't know, at least a few meetings. And so Destination Sturgeon Bay is, theoretically, one of a number of the other entities that would like to see something happen. So just because you don't see a particular entity listed here, doesn't necessarily mean they haven't been involved and aren't considering involvement. So anything you would add or word that better, Mr. Siegel?
Just I think maybe to help answer that a little bit, Doc, would be, we can't do the feasibility study with only 15K, so we would have to seek funds elsewhere.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be able to just pull the trigger and say, hey, yep, we're in for the
That was
study.
mine.
So we would have to go elsewhere, but the 15K being one, is that 1/6 of that?
1/6.
You are the math
Yes.
This, but
I'm with you.
the district's committed, right? The district does want to keep seeing it move forward, but we know that the district can't fund 100% of all of this. So it's part of the funds, but it's also the commitment to just the next step.
I have a question that might be for you, Jake. If someone were to ask me, where is this $15,000 coming from? Where would you say, what account, what fund, where?
Hey, there's a number of places we could look at advertising, a maintenance type fund, knowing that right, we really do need a number of upgrades at our athletic facilities. That'll probably be the most logical, the maintenance similar to our roofing maintenance, consultant, where we do pay him to help us make sure we got we're up to date on our roofs. I think that'd be the most valuable.
The other exciting thing, just from the earlier meetings, you've done meetings, obviously, since Dan and I were in the earlier meetings, is that the stakeholders all are nodding, yet like people that are, or the entities that are listed in your packet here are all nodding yes. And it's like, it seems that the time is right for people to all come together. This isn't just that, but there's other portions of this plan that help the county and help city help. So it's really exciting that maybe we're all working together to make this space, if not other spaces, even more attractive to outside entities and for the whole county. So this isn't just like a softball field, you know, this is,
But it's not just a
It's a lot.
Sturgeon Bay Schools thing.
no,
Okay.
yeah,
But it
that's
would really benefit the kids too, right? Because like they would get to use the facility.
absolutely, absolutely. So again, we have to walk before we run. So this feasibility study is just it's a necessary thing to have done for the next stage of it. So.
Most of my understanding, it's not a high school sports complex. That's not the focus of the group. If I'm saying this right, tell me if I'm not.
Yeah, go for it.
It's more about a community, right? It's a 365 days a year type of complex. And there are a number of studies that we've gone through in the past. There's the John Miles Park study, right? That we made a whole bunch of improvements over the last few years, the Airboard study. And then we actually did some studies of other county properties and sports complexes. So all those will be pushed into the feasibility study, right? They can review those, the data we already have, and then quantify it maybe, or say, no, this is old, bad information, right? That's how we got the little skateboard part of it, right? Is through these studies, and a group came forward and they built it. But like you said, you had to crawl almost before they even walked, you know, to achieve those things. But community-wide and county-wide, I think is the bigger picture to bring in tax revenue and room tax dollars and like all of those things. And if we can help our school sports along the way, that might be beneficial for everyone. Yeah.
So it was the last couple weeks, I had an unexpected question posed from a friend, and they said, I don't know why you do this. Good question, actually. I just think of Wayne, when you say crawl before you walk, it's slow. It's a lot of groups, and it's bringing so many people, like all these different entities together and getting everybody on board, and everybody is super excited about it, and they do see a need. And it took a couple days to kind of reflect on just the random question of why would I do it? And just when you say community, that's what it's for. It's to make where we live better. And not that where we live is bad, but we have small kids, you have super small kids. They'll get to use it. We'll get, I mean, there's apartments going up everywhere, houses going up everywhere. Everybody in the county is trying to get people to come here to work, and why not make it a better place? So it came back to just, I want where we live to be freaking awesome. Like, why can these other places have it? And Sturgeon Bay and Door County, Wisconsin, of all places, doesn't. We should. We're like, we can. And let's give all of those opportunities to the kids that are here. Like, why not be able to host a regional WIA track meet in Sturgeon Bay. Heck, yeah. That would be super cool to do. So just that question of why comes back to, let's make where we live better. Because it can be. So,
Yeah, and I think we're a bedroom community to Green Bay. And as Green Bay gets bigger and they get more projects, those people are gonna head to Door County to see what's going on, and if we have theaters for them to go see or whatever, that I understand that's
Okay.
part of this could be too. Why not? Why not?
yeah, and that's where all
Grab
the
those.
city and the county entities can all come together, because if we're bringing more people in. And there's more people in our restaurants and more people in our hotels and everything else that's increasing our room tax, and that room tax can help fund the item that brings them in. So it's been interesting learning how all of these little pieces work, but very interesting. So that's a little side story, but that's kind of the why, and that's why I'm here asking for the 15 again.
Well, thanks, Greg. Anyone else have any specific questions? If not, I'd like to call the vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve $15,000 towards the sports complex feasibility study as described. Please vote. Please say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Especially in the summer. It's good. It's good. I see you got sandals on, so that's still, that's good.
Music in the park.
Yeah, we gotta have that. That's good. Thanks a lot, Craig. Point 11, continuation of the free breakfast program for 2023-2024 informational.
Yeah, and we covered this in depth a year ago when it was first about piloting it. So maybe Director Spooty, I'll just have you step to the podium in case there's anything you want to add or they want to ask you. But again, we've talked many times, the public doesn't understand it necessarily like the administration and board do, but right, fund $50, food service dollars have to be dedicated for that. We can't take, because we have such a strong program, extra dollars and go put them toward paying teachers or hiring teacher associates or any of that. It doesn't work that way. Now, the reverse is true. If we had a weak program and we're losing money, then in essence, the district does have to fund that, but it's just not how it works with when we have a strong program. So as you see in Jenny's description, and she put a nice report together for us, kind of a year in review in your packet, right? Can't use that to give out free lunches for everyone, but can use that, you know, along with, you know, buying a food truck to move stuff around in the freezers and all the different stuff that Jenny stays on top of. She can do that to keep participation up in breakfast. And then our thinking was, hey, let's just examine this every year. Just because we do this doesn't mean 10 years from now or 5 years or even 2 years from now, we guarantee it. As long as the food service program continues to be as strong as it is and the numbers come out, then we'd be able to do that. Anything you want to add to that, Jenny? And again, this is an informational item, and then we'll see if the board wants to ask anything tonight. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for me sometimes during the school year to attend because my day starts very early. So in the summer, when I have more time, I like to attend. So like Dan said, in a nutshell, that money has to stay and provide food for our students. We have caps on how we can provide some of that money to our staff in compensation. We just bought a new truck 2 years ago. Like we have very limited expenses right now that we need to save. We can only have 3 months of an operating expense in our account. And we're high on that. So we thought, let's continue offering free breakfast so that from my perspective, that stigma of breakfast is for kids who really need it because they don't have enough food at home, which was always the past stigma, that we can continue to just flatten that is important. In the future, as we move down the road, there are other programs that I could look into further. Community eligibility provision is what it's called. It's a different program where we would be able to subsidize lunch for our students. And lunch would be free. So that's again, just slightly risky because our free participation, our free eligibility, free meal pricing eligibility is not as high as some other schools, but they plan to lower that cap, which would give us a higher reimbursement rate per meal. So I'm not gonna, right now, I can't use extra money to fund lunch free for everybody. Because it's just not the way the program works, but I can for breakfast. In the future, we might move down the road where our kids can also have free lunch, but that would be a different program, different rules. And a little bit more for me to look into, to work with Jake and be sure that that's something feasible for our program.
Anybody you want to ask Jenny a question while we've got her? And you hear different types of updates from her, even if she doesn't necessarily isn't able to join us at a given meeting. Otherwise, Jenny, I'll just say on behalf of everyone, because they all know it, and you know this, and you sometimes don't like it when I say it, but thank you for the good job you're doing and the strong food service program. May you and your team keep it up.
For sure.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think we're very fortunate that many of you selected people like Craig and I to take our roles because we love our jobs. We come back every day because we love it. So, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jenny.
you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks for the free breakfast too.
Next point is point 12 strategic action plan draft for 23-24.
I was settling into my computer, I remembered somewhere in Google Land, I may not have gotten the proper PDF into the packet versus what you may or may not be able to see in Google, but you've seen this before. So really, just in a nutshell, let me open mine up here. Same areas, right? So teaching and learning, under teaching and learning, we've got the literacy growth piece again for this year, the guiding questions from do 4 about what we want our students to learn, etc. And then under quality instructional practices, very similar to what we had for this current year, engage all students, and then kind of responsive data-driven practices. So really under teaching and learning, no real changes, just a little bit of updates. Under community engagement, I was thinking of maybe even for this year, dropping that from 2 bullet points to 1, kind of sticking with how we update stakeholders, and maybe that'll fit this fall or into winter with some talk about, you know, our newsletter, communication planning, some of that type of stuff, right? So that's kind of what I can give you verbally, even if you don't have it in front of you. And then the finance, facilities, and operations, very important, as you and I know, 2 basic bullet points, very similar to what you've seen the last several years. We're not looking to take this in a bunch of different directions. The first bullet point dealing with both the short and long-term budget planning processes, right? As we're thinking about operational referendum cycle, as we're thinking about the state budget, we'll talk about here in just a couple of minutes, so forth. And then the last one, we know a school district really is all about people serving people and the concept of attracting and retaining quality staff. So I'll get that in. So really, at a nutshell, I just wanted to kind of bounce that off of you in an informational way. The team has worked with me on this several times over the past several months, and I just have to finish kind of cleaning that up for you for next month. Otherwise, if you have a thought, even if it's not a question for the meeting tonight, feel free to give me a buzz, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, and I can answer or take that into account when I tweak that little bit of wording that's left. Otherwise, that's all I have on that.
Perfect. Point 13 is just a placeholder for the biannual state budget update. Kind of probably more of a Jake thing than anything.
But it might dovetail nicely
maybe-
into the report section.
Maybe you go right into your report or whatever, because it's probably a lot of one and the same, Jake.
It really is. I sent the report out late June. Or my update out in late June. And then a slight update for this week. So not really a whole lot changed from that. We're in a good position. Just as far as that, my report, the few questions, thoughts that we're gonna be asking you guys, be looking at. If you have any thoughts related to that, please do not hesitate to reach out to me or Dan. I'd be happy to pull together any numbers for our meeting in August and or September. As we look at the compensation stuff, so.
I think just as a summary, you've seen it probably several times in writing, but we know we had tonight's meeting. We try to keep it light, obviously, in summer and certainly in July. None of us want to return to all the extra COVID meetings we had In August, we just have the one night meeting, but we really have two meetings, right? We have kind of a learning session budget wise that we start somewhere around that 6:15, depending on the year. Where we can talk about a few of the things Jake has kind of thrown out there, even though we're not having to make budgetary decisions in that session, of course, or even the night of the August meeting. And then we have the September learning session, the first week of school, where we can kind of look at what topics we want to discuss for the year and talk a little bit more about those top priorities and whatnot that Jake has reminded us. And again, you've seen that in my stuff multiple times. And then really the night of the September meeting at the latest is when we want the board to take action on one or more of those items that we've been talking about with the compensation piece. And then that way, Jake can take that into account as he preps everything, and then we get the general aid certification from the state of Wisconsin on or about October 15th. By the time we have our regular meeting in October, which we remember bump back a week to make sure everything's in the board packet for the public if someone wants to track it. We approve the budget officially, we approve the tax levy for the next year, and it all hits. So not looking to rush the board in any way, shape, or form, but we want to make sure we take action on some of these things no later than the regular September meeting. Anything I missed there, Jake, from what we've been talking about? Nope. Okay.
So other reports for tonight. You have anything further to add here?
I have one item that I'll add. You can see my printed report, this one, and it actually, Mr. Siegel made reference to it, and I just found it interesting from a couple of meetings I've been at recently, information from the mayor. It deals with housing. This will be in what I send to all staff and send the board, okay? I know Jake has spoken, for example, from TTX perspective about housing, and a number of us have been at different meetings together. But this was just something I can just summarize very briefly, and you'll see the one pager when I send that out. So the mayor had this for us with our most recent EDC board meeting on Monday. But so in 2022, they had 29 different units that were completed. 3 different projects are referenced, including the TTX Corporation taking care of 4 units. All right, at this point, as of July 14th, when this was prepared, there were 224 units under construction with 5 different projects. All right, and they also, the mayor has it, I'll include some of that in my report. Is there actually data? Because some locals might say, do we really need that many housing units? Right, about how Door County fits with the top 10 rural counties in the state seeing growth. We're 5th, if you will. And a lot of that deals with, no surprise, tourism and hospitality, right? So we know what we have in manufacturing and whatnot in Northeast Wisconsin, but that whole tourism and hospitality piece, this is saying, yes, businesses need people and they need a place to live. Craig talked about it with his comments for what else the city's doing. So there's the 224 units there. Now listen to this. The city has approved with construction to start yet in 2023, but it hasn't yet, another 120 units split over 4 projects. And they're in the planning stages where the city has not yet approved it, but they're talking with developers about another 138 units, of which there's 4 projects. And that one in particular kind of catches my eye because one of the projects would be a focus on 24 single family homes, right? We all know there's housing needed. But right, as a school district, we like to see more single family homes. The city understands that. And so that is one of the ones that I hope, well, hopefully these all work out, but certainly want to see that. So I just wanted to tie that in partially because it also dovetails with what Craig talked about. The rest you'll see from me in my email. I think that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. Are you gonna have anyone else?
No, they're good.
All right, then I think we are down to, can I have a motion to adjourn? With it, we have Commissioner, okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Jenner, second by Commissioner Schultz to adjourn. Further discussion? Hearing none, all will say, in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. All right,
Good for an hour.
that's, yeah.
What do we have for the-
1 hour. I mean.
City development.
If